You're on your couch watching Melee. It's day 2, but we're not too deep into bracket. Jmook is destroying a helpless opponent on his way to yet another top 8. The commentator says something about how historic his Genesis 9 run was, how he was the first Sheik to win a major. Your friend knows a little bit, but they're not a true Melee head like you, so they ask, wait, isn't this character supposed to be good? It's a fair question. Sheik was the highest ranked character on the game's first official tier list. On the 12 tier list made in more than a decade since, she's been ranked no worse than 5th. Yoshi, a character who hit the top 10 for the first time in 2021, won 3 majors in 2022.
And you're telling me Sheik, this supposed god-tier character, has won just 1 in the last 2 decades? I think we have some explaining to do.
But first,
here are the nominees for Male Model of the Year.
Young, hot, brash, with more covers in his first year than any rookie model ever, and an attitude that says, who cares, it's only fashion.
That Waltle's so hot right now.
I hear a lot of words like premium apparel or elevated self-expression or 10% off your order with promo code WALT. To me, that's like a vanity, that self-absorption that I try to steer clear of. I dig into the AM. I mean, for me, it's just the way I live my life. I grip it and I rip it. I live it with a lot of flair. I live it on the edge, where I gotta be. I wasn't like every other kid, you know, who dreams about being a YouTuber. I was always more interested in graphic tees, hoodies, joggers, things that are comfortable while also being really, really, really ridiculously good looking. Owen Wilson's a real hero of mine. turndownforALT. Walt will be another person who's a hero. The videos he's created over the years, I don't really watch any of them, but the fact that he's making them, I respect that. I care desperately about what I do. Do I know what product I'm selling? No. Do I know what I'm doing today? No. But I'm here, and I'm going to use promo code WALT on Into the AM for 10% off.
Okay, let's start by running down Sheik's history by the numbers. People debate whether this should count as a major, but Sheik's first and only solo major win prior to Jmook, according to Wikipedia, came at 2004's MLG San Francisco, where the legendary Captain Xack defeated Isaiah and Ken to take first place. Our data continues all the way through Jmook's win at Genesis 9 this January, including 159 major tournaments. Here's the leaderboard for Melee's major wins over the past 2 decades. Nobody should be that surprised to see Fox up here. Marth in second makes sense given both the game's oldest number 1 in Ken and its newest in Zane were Marth mains, and there's never been a shortage of Marth players in the interim. Jigglypuff and Peach can point to 2 titans, Hungrybox and Armada, for their success. Not only is Falco a great character by himself, but just about every great Fox has a Falco as well, so his presence in the top 5 also makes perfect sense. All 5 of these characters have won at least 23 majors apiece. Alright, those of you with lightning quick mental math skills might have noticed this adds up to a bit more than 159. This list counts wins as both main or secondary. And then there's Sheik. This character, a consensus top 5 character for the entirety of the game's lifespan, sits in 6th, below Peach at 18.
But hang on a minute, Artemis Fowl. I thought you said Jmook's win was the first since Captain Jack's, your friend says.
Right, we forgot to explain the whole solo main distinction. Of the 159 major winners, 89 of them did it with just 1 character, according to Wikipedia, a 55% rate. Solo maining has never been required in Melee by any means. This should come as no surprise when 2 of the best characters are clones after all, but still, most players stick to 1 character for a tournament run, even if they have another one they're capable of playing. But not the Sheiks. Marth, Jigglypuff, and Peach are carried by their mains. Fox and Falco are closer to 50-50, in large part because of their shared player base. The majority of Sheik's tournament runs come from secondaries, and she's the only character to get more wins from the other category, the 3rd, 4th, or even 5th characters listed from a tournament run, than the main category. Every single one of the 16 major winners to use Sheik between Captain Xack and Jmook also used another character along the way. Korean DJ and Plup were definitely Sheik mains, but Korean DJ had a Marth, and Plup has a Fox and a Samus and a Luigi and probably whatever else he feels like. Azin and Mewtwo King both used Sheik with Marth throughout their careers. Leffen's new Sheik helped him win Battle of BC4 this past year. Ken would occasionally use some Sheik with their usual Marths.
And PC Chris, he just played everybody good.
Captain Falcon's also kind of like this for the record, but not as good. That tracks, given his place on the tier list, always decent, but never top 5 like Sheik. And yet, since Captain Xack, Captain Falcon has 4 solo major wins, 2 from Isaiah and 2 from Wizrobe. Peach, despite Hungrybox forcing Armada to use Fox at pretty much every tournament, still found 3. Falco, despite his main carries, Mango, PPMD, and PC Chris all using other characters, still won 4 by himself. And again, Yoshi won 3 just in 2022. Okay, that's not really fair and we all know it, but Sheik is supposed to be with these guys, not these guys, so what's going on? If you're a fan of Melee, there's a pretty good chance you know who Borp is. If you don't, you're welcome. Borp is a Sheik main who dedicated himself to playing the game without anything more advanced than a short hop. Or short hopping, even. No wave dashing, no L canceling, none of that fancy shit. Borp is not the reason why it took 2 decades for solo Sheik to win, but Borp can explain it a tiny bit. None of these marks are Borp. Borp entered 3 big houses and peaked at 129th place. This is not a major winning playstyle, to nobody's surprise, but Borp was a top 10 player in Pittsburgh for a few years doing nothing much fancier than dash attack tech chasing. Borp is a philosophical guy and he knew exactly what he was doing. He took Melee's obsession with technique and turned it into a weapon against his opponents. You can just hear the inner monologue. I grinded all this time to move like this and he's just dash attacking and it's working? No character was better for this kind of playstyle than Sheik. A big reason why Sheik ranked above Fox and Falco on early tier lists was because of her ease of use. She has easy and powerful confirms off of simple buttons like forward tilt. Her throws are incredibly rewarding even if you're not reaction tech chasing. You can edge guard with needles by just standing there, which Borp was. He was just standing there. Borp illustrates just how far you can push Sheik with strong game knowledge and smart reads and literally nothing else. Imagine that with just a little bit of technical expertise and you can see why if you're a great Marth player or a great Samus player, Sheik became the natural top tier to pick up. Similarly, if you're already a strong Sheik, the maintenance required to keep up the character won't prevent you from investing into a new Fox or Marth secondary. The great Sheiks of the 2010s, Mew2King and Plup, showcased this perfectly. Mew2King was the counterpick god, and he had no reason to dedicate himself to solo Sheik when he had better options to deal with characters like Jigglypuff and Fox. Plup, on the other hand, started as a Samus, switched to Sheik after Apex 2015, and has since added a Fox as his Jigglypuff answer. Both Plup and M2K are among the best players we've ever seen, no matter who they pick. That they become the ones to carry the torch for Sheik in this era is no accident. Mew2King technically ended Sheik's Dark Ages at the Big House 3 in 2013, but oh boy, is that getting technical with it. From what we have recorded, he used Sheik to 2-0 Wakes Peach in winner's round of 32. After that, he used Sheik in one game. Game 3 against PPMD in winner's semis, where it made a huge comeback for M2K and what would go on to be a 3-2 victory. He would then not touch Sheik at all for the rest of the event, using only Fox to take out Hungrybox in winners and grand finals. Did the Sheik matter? Absolutely, but you see why this doesn't exactly count as Sheik winning a major for most folks?
The next few years were about to be defined by the rise of Fox, as 20XX approached quicker than anybody could have imagined.
Fox made up for more than 35% of top 8 placements in 2014 for the first time, and you now absolutely had to be able to win that matchup in order to claim a major. The true resurgence of Sheik didn't happen until late 2016 when Mew2King took Shine. Yet again, he didn't use Sheik at all in winners or grands, instead taking down SFAT with Marth. But the Sheik made a much bigger impact here, defeating Axe 3-1 in winners quarters and 3-0ing Swedish Delight in the Ditto. Over the next year and a half, Sheik played a part in 5 major wins. Mew2King won CEO Dreamland, Canada Cup 2017, and Smash Summit 6, and didn't use Sheik in any of those grand final sets either. And then there's Plup. He won DreamHack 2017, beating Axe and Mew2King with Sheik, and Hungrybox with Fox. Then there was his Genesis 5 run. This run was unquestionably the greatest Sheik run of the pre-lockdown era. On his way to winners finals, Plup took down a pair of gods, defeating Mango's Falco 3-2 and Armada's Fox and Peach 3-0, all with solo Sheik. And then he had to play Hungrybox. He won, of course, staving off a reset, but he did it with Fox. Once again, the story of Sheik's best tournament runs of the 2010s is that she didn't get to play when the most was on the line. We could talk about all sorts of factors that have kept solo Sheik from winning where every other top tier succeeded. From the mid-2010s onwards, there's really only one answer though. It's all this guy's fault. A Sheik player finished second 27 times at majors from 2009 when HBox entered the scene through 2022. 11 times, that's 41%, first place was Hungrybox, as many times as it was Mango, PPMD, and Zane combined. Sheik players finished third another 27 times in that same span. Hungrybox finished first or second 18 times, that's 60%. This is not just a coincidence of Hungrybox being the best player in the world for a solid chunk of that time. Hungrybox is specifically a Sheik slayer. The PG Stats database, rest in peace, had Hungrybox with a game win rate over 72% against Sheik mains dating back to 2015. That's a dominant enough figure on its own, but it gets even more impressive when you consider he's playing on the opponent's counterpick in a majority of those games. Plup won a few sets over Hungrybox with Sheik, but Hbox would typically get the last laugh. He won 2-0 in winners at EVO 2016, but fell 3-1 in the rematch, including a cumulative 6 stock in the final 3 games for the Puff. Plup won the first set of grands with Sheik at CEO 2018 in a Game 5 set, coming back from a 4 stock by Hbox in Game 4 to force the reset, only to get 3-0'd in the one that mattered. Mewtwo didn't even bother to try it. According to Liquipedia's database, Hungrybox and Mewtwo have played nearly 300 tournament games, of which all of 6 have been with Sheik. 5-1 in favor of Hungrybox, naturally. Sheik was everywhere in top 8s in the 2010s, especially from 2015 to 2017 when she was actually the second most popular character in top 8 brackets, only behind Fox, who had truly started to become the 20XX menace we had been warned about. There was about 1 Sheik per top 8 on average, and while there were players like M2K who used Sheik primarily as a counterpick character, most of the Sheik representation came from her mains. Without context, the odds that Sheik could go this long with so much success without winning a major by herself is unfathomable. Solo Sheik was piloted to top 8 66 times between Captain Jack's win in 2004 and Jmook's win in 2023. 66 times, she lost the tournament. When quarantine hit, it had been 15 years since Sheik's last major, and she had never ever won a super major. Sheik was doing great, maybe better than ever, but Solo Sheik was not thriving. In 2015, 13 of the 34, that's 38% of runs that took Sheik to a top 8 came from solo runs. From 2017 to 2020, Sheik made 53 top 8s, with solo runs responsible for, once again, just 13 of them, a decline from 38% to 24%. Solo Sheik had just 1 top 3 performance in this entire span, Plup's run to 3rd at EVO 2018, where he conveniently didn't play against Hbox. The answer to can Solo Sheik win a major never looked more like no. The Sheik players with the skill to do so all needed other characters to finish the job, and Hungrybox was never looking more dominant. Perhaps it makes sense, as Melee develops further and further, a character that wins off relatively simple play and capitalizing off the opponent's mistakes should get left behind at the game's highest level. And if that was the Sheik that was still played today, we might still be waiting. Jmook changed everything. He had been playing Melee since 2014, coming up in the same scene that also produced Cody Schwab, but it wasn't until the online and post-lockdown eras that he would truly come into his own. He proved it was possible to push this character to the next level. He wasn't the first Solo Sheik to top 8 in the post-lockdown era. That would be Faceroll, who finished 7th at the Smash World Tour 2021 finals, outplacing Jmook's 13th by 2 rounds. Jmook had a good run at his first big offline major after lockdown, taking out Gatsu, Kalamazoo, Far, and Joshman. But nothing we saw there could prepare us for what was about to come in 4 months.
The ball is over, call it close, but we all know what this is gonna be. You came and failed the test, you met the best, expected chess, but got monopoly. I came and bought you out, I knocked you out, I cropped you out with no apologies. I am the hope, the heart, the fate, the spark, the one who will fulfill the prophecy. I just been counting, never lounging, climbing up mountains, bouncing back. Step in the ring, about you step back. They'll learn hot when I get on the track. I like it louder the most, watching all these sheep just bow down to the goat. If I can't decide, I'ma probably get both. We done celebrate, but right now I'm a toast, resurrected ghost.
Outside, outside, everything around me I create with my mind. Working too hard, I don't want no downtime. Put my team on, they gon' shine when I shine. We can take this.
Jmook, what the hell is going on?
Jmook soaking in the crowd a bit there, who is losing their minds over this gameplay right now, and how could they not? Everybody with a Jmook shirt, can you please stand up?
Oh, and that's gonna do it! 3-0 for Jmook!
Jmook didn't win the tournament, but by making top 2, he had already accomplished something that hadn't been done in a solo Sheik run since Captain Jack. The run also qualified him for Smash Summit 13, where he finished 4th, losing to Plup and IBDW, but taking a set over Leffen in the final stage. How many times did Sheik mains, not even solo Sheiks, finish top 4 in 2019? Twice. Plup's 3rd places at Genesis 6 and Pound. The last time 2 top 4 solo Sheik runs had happened? 2016, when Shroom did it at Smash and Splash 2 and Kirby Kaze did it at Canada Cup. But why stop there? Jmook finished 2022 with 3 second place finishes, 5 top 4s, and 11 top 8s. Sheik, as a character, made 10 top 8s total in 2019. And he didn't just redefine Sheik from a results perspective. Jmook was changing the way people saw the character. The Slippy era had pushed punish games to the absolute limit, and Borp level punishes just weren't gonna cut it anymore.
Is Sheik harder than Marth? This really depends on how hard you think reaction tech chasing is. Overall, Sheik is definitely easier than Marth, but she requires reaction tech chasing. Because she requires it at top level, she's so much harder than Marth in those matchups. So it's hard to say.
As a friend of the channel, Ipengu showed in great detail in another video, Jmook has pushed Sheik's tech chasing game farther than any of the other Sheik players. His IPM is well beyond even Plup's. Not only does he push each grab farther, he's more willing to go for them. That combination has given his game an explosiveness the character has lacked in previous years. It's an explosiveness that's desperately needed in today's meta, which not only has all these Slippy era threats, but old villains as well. I mean, look at who's there. At most of the tournaments Jmook wasn't winning, Hungrybox was present. Even if HBox wasn't taking home the gold as he did at Gommel and Riptide, HBox was there to play spoiler, like he did at Battle of BC4 and November's Summit 14. And when it wasn't Hungrybox, it was Zane. Zane ended the run at Shine 2022, which looked like the most likely chance for Jmook after he finally won a set over HBox, a 3-0 stomping that did absolutely nothing to change his momentum in their lifetime set count. There are many other killers in Melee these days. Amsa, Mango, and Leffen also won majors in this stretch, but by the end of 2022, Jmook had demonstrated he could take them all. When Jmook had his chances in Grand Finals, where no Sheik had nearly been in 20 years, it was Zane and Hungrybox who stopped him. These were the final obstacles standing between Sheik and a solo major win. Alright, before we get to the happy ending, one big question remains. Why do we care? Why do we talk about Sheik winning majors as if Sheik is an entity with agency and not a collection of parameters, a tool to be used, a means to an end? What does it matter if her players counterpick? Is that not part of the game? The reality is that fighting game characters are always more than a collection of their attributes. Some people strictly play to the tier list, but 99% of players gravitate towards whoever they play because they personally click for some reason beyond the matchup chart. Maybe it's the playstyle, the feeling of their movement, the way a certain attack or combo feels when it hits.
Maybe they have a really cool mustache.
Spend enough time with these characters and they start to become extensions of ourselves. We connect with their successes and failures even when we aren't the ones on the sticks. When another Sheik falls in top 8, can you really blame them for feeling like the loss is their own? Can you blame them for wanting to give up when another top Sheik switches at the mere sight of a Jigglypuff? Can you really blame them for losing hope when the same fate meets their heroes again and again and again? Genesis 9 was Melee's biggest super major, truly back at full force at a time when we needed it most. Just about everybody was in attendance, including Jmook's typical foes, Zane and Hungrybox. And there was Amsa, who was riding high after a ridiculous finish to the season, which included wins over Jmook at Apex and Scuff World Tour. It was easy to look at the foes in front of him and assume that his best chance at a major had passed him by. But then the pieces started falling into place. Jmook's first projected loss, Mango, decided he simply didn't have it in him and brought out the Dr. Mario instead before bowing out at 97th to watch the Eagles. Then Toussaint started out top 48 with a massive upset, taking out Amsa 3-2. A round further, another domino fell when Hungrybox was sent to losers by Moki. It was still a long road ahead of Jmook. IBDW, who ended his run at Summit, was still riding high in the top half of the bracket. Amsa and HBox kept pushing through losers, their threats looming, and then there was the projected winner semis match with Zane, the clearest obstacle in his path. Jmook did his job. SFAT, SFOP, and None all went down, despite one hell of a challenge from SFOP.
Hey buddy, just watch your SFAT sit. I was watching. I don't know if you got a lot of attention, but Kiss his dad, dude! We got you. Mad support from Windham, New York. We love you. Keep it going. Good luck.
Jmook and Zane were possibly the most evenly matched top players of 2022. Their set count for the year ended at 4-4 with an 18-17 game count in Zane's favor. The last 6 sets they played went to a Game 5. Imagine thinking this one wasn't going to have some drama. And how fitting, Solo Sheik's greatest hope against the man who proved Solo Marth couldn't just win in Modern Melee, but could be number 1.
I just think soloing period is just impressive, man, because it's just so hard to do in this era.
Now, did Jmook need to win this set to win the tournament? Technically, no, but of the 2 paths in front of him, one was much easier. Win here, and he was 2 sets away from the tournament with only the winner of Moki and Plup standing between him and Grand Finals. A loser's run from this position would require 5 consecutive wins against 5 of the best players in the world, possibly including 2 straight sets against Zain, and possibly including a matchup with Hungrybox, who was still around in losers after all of Saturday's chaos. Jmook won Game 1, but Zain answered back and went up 2-1 in the set. Just over a minute into Game 4, it looked like we were right back where we always were, with Sheik getting gatekept by the best player in the world yet again. Zain had so many huge opportunities in this game. With both players sitting on 2 stocks remaining, Jmook flubbed his platform movement and transformed into Zelda, but Zain wasn't able to convert the punish into a stock. But never did this set feel more over than in this moment.
Wait.
Oh, missed tech.
Oh, the spot dodge. Don't jump, Jmook.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Not only is this the best player in the world staring down a helpless Sheik with no jump, this is 20 years of history bearing down on not just Jmook and Zain, but everybody in the San Jose Convention Center. Here was just another example of one of Melee's most ironclad truths. Sheik simply cannot do it. But sometimes you just gotta say, you know what? Fuck history, man.
Oh yeah, see, that's why you
no jump now. No jump.
What a forward smash.
Forward smash.
I thought that was gonna be a king combo. Yeah. Jmook living.
Oh, Zain did that. Please get hit.
Oh, wow. Barely not hitting the net.
What?
How are they not hitting each other?
What? I don't know.
Oh, boost grab.
That's it?
Corner. No,
oh, wait, he's still alive. He's not dead yet. Okay, he's dead. Nice.
What a decision from Jmook.
We are going to Game 5.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
Jmook would play 8 more games in this tournament, but his place in winner's bracket would never be under any real threat. Game 5 against Zain was utter domination. His 3-0 over Moki was a cumulative 7 stock, a complete evisceration of a player who had just gone on the run of their life to get to winners finals. Jmook had broken a 3-set losing streak to Cody, his Grand's opponent at Scuff World Tour in December. He was not about to let Cody stop him from rewriting history today. Look no further than Game 2, when Jmook fell behind a full stock only to absolutely run Cody over for the next minute. Cody stopped the bleeding with a Game 3 win on Stadium, but it was only temporary.
Hey, Bobby, can you make this make sense? Because I can't, man. I don't know
what's
going on
right now.
Yes. What is going on, man?
What is going on is that you take an extremely passionate community and have them grind this game for 20 plus years, and this is the level of play that comes out.
Big facts.
And this is not just for the Genesis Championship. This will be Jmook's first Super Major win, period.
And also Sheik's first Super Major win in a long time. In a long time. Insane. One stop away.
A lot of firsts here.
He's going to have to completely, cleanly open Jmook up if he wants a chance.
Oh, wait, that'll do it.
That might have been it.
That's
That
it.
weak reverse in there. Jmook is your Genesis 9 champion, making history today, lighting up the venue. People have been waiting to see Jmook take home a first place. We saw the rap sheet second, but Jmook now can say that he is a Genesis champion. First place.
He quit Starbucks for this.
Yeah.
He quit Starbucks for this.
He quit Starbucks for this.
Congratulations, Jmook.
Congratulations.
No more silver surfing. We surfing up gold, baby.
Whew. Okay, hopefully that covers it. Jmook's rise wasn't just a great story of Melee continuing to produce new stars after 2 decades of competition. He took one of Melee's greatest myths and shattered it. He proved that Sheik is more than just the easy top tier to pick up and add to your stable of characters. He showed just how deep this character could be, and most importantly, he proved once and for all that Sheik can win a Super Major. Wait, what? He won Collision 2023 also? What the fuck? Thank you so much for watching this documentary. I hope you enjoyed it, and much gratitude goes to my top tier patrons for making videos like this possible, especially Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Dorian, Eric is Cool, Juniper, NNG Esports, Storm SSB, Storm, and Tingly Jungle. If you'd like to help support me in making more videos like these, please feel free to contribute through the link in the description. Oh, also, I guess I'm a YouTuber now, so I'm supposed to talk about how only some percentage of you are subscribed, so if you could do me a solid, that'd be great. I have some really big plans for the rest of this year and on, so I'm looking forward to having you all along for the ride. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Oh, fuck.